Hey Douglas, it's Opal, and this is a wallet holster for the LCP Max. This is available over on Printables and takes 95A TPU and only requires 8 1x10 neodymium magnets. I will upload a version of this without holes in here so you can size it for whatever magnets you happen to have. And for the print settings on here, basically just add enough bottom layers so that this portion here is completely solid. And then you can add however many walls you want. It doesn't really matter. So let's talk about the early versions of this. And then hopefully that'll give you an understanding as to why this is structured the way that it is. So version 1 was this guy, where everything was nice and enclosed. We only had 2 little magnet spots. And this ended up being way too big to put in a pocket. It doesn't seem like this is that much larger than this guy, but it is. The couple of millimeters I chopped off of the front, the bottom, and the top really added up. And even in this version, we had a gap in the back here for you to get your thumb, and a little cutout here for you to get your middle and ring finger in there to pull it out. So this one, unfortunately, had to be scrapped. We can go on to version 2, which is this guy, where I thinned up the back quite a bit, so it was a little more flexible. If we plop the gun in here, we can see we have an incorrectly spaced little island here, but more importantly, we have a little finger cutout here. So this was small enough to fit inside of a back pocket, and you can pull it out relatively quickly. The problem with it is that it's way too floppy, and the little magnets here were not enough to hold it closed, especially when you're shoving it into your pocket and had a habit of doing that. So we moved on to version 3, which is this guy. I added this reinforcing rib here to the back and added this, actually wait, no, that was already there. Yeah, I basically just added this reinforcing rib, and I added these little tab cutouts. So basically, once this is locked into here, it can't shift like this. And rather than one magnet being in either side, there's 4. And that was enough to stop it from sliding open when you're shoving it into your pocket. So this version was pretty good. It's pretty functional just for like whipping it out of your pocket and pulling the gun out. But the problem with it is that when it's closed like this, there's not really a good place to pull open this cover because it's just smooth on the sides here. And I guess you could come in from the top and rip it open, or just kind of like get your nails under it, but when you're pulling this out, you want to get it out as quickly as possible. So we moved on to the final version, which is this guy. And we have cutouts here, and cutouts here, which I thought would be the 3 most common places that you would be ripping at this to open it. Should be right in the middle at the top, in the corner, or at the bottom. And then you have your nice little hole for your thumb to get through. You have your nice little gap here for you to get your index and ring finger in. And then I shortened this little island here so you can just rip it out without too much effort. There is the concern about maybe the trigger getting pulled because this is like a pretty flexible material. But the thing about this is that the trigger on the LCP Max has this little trigger dingus. And that means if you're pulling the trigger from the side, the trigger cannot actually go far enough back to let go of the hammer in here. And so when this is in here and you're pressing on it through this flap, all you can really do is tug on the side of the trigger. I sat here for a while trying to pull the trigger by like using a pen or using my finger to try and like touch the trigger and push it back, and I couldn't get it to go off. So I think this is probably pretty safe to carry, and of course this little gap does not let you touch the trigger at all, because A, that would be dangerous, and B, that would be an AOW, and you should not be manufacturing AOWs, because, you know, I feel like the government might be a little bit upset over you doing that. So this guy is just a holster, not an AOW. And let me pull out my calipers, and then we can see how thick it is in every dimension. Let's go throw the case on the floor. So, zero out our calipers. This is 27 millimeters thick. It is approximately 98 millimeters, or about 100 millimeters tall, depending on where you're measuring it. Because the sights do stick proud of this top part a little bit, and the magazine does stick proud to the bottom a little bit. And then as for how long this is, I'm not sure if my calipers, oh no, they are long enough. It's about 135 millimeters. And so this is just small enough that you can tuck this into the back of a men's jean pocket, like the back pocket of a pair of men's jeans, and it will sit in there and it will not stick proud to the top. You will be able to see this very top piece from behind when this is in your pocket, but of course this just looks like a wallet when it's in your back pocket. And I spray painted this one just because I wanted to get across like how it would look like a wallet. But obviously you could print this out of brown or black TPU, and it would probably just, you know, look like a wallet. Anyway, you can get this for free over on my printables, and you can come talk to me about gun autism over on Twitch. Thank you all for your time, and have a good day.